Good morning. This is Dr. Hansa Das, and once again, you're welcome to my channel History with Hansa. In today's video, we are going to cover the topic Reformation, the causes of the Protestant Reformation Movement, a background to which I have already given in my previous videos when we were doing Renaissance, the causes of Renaissance and Renaissance humanism. Protestant Reformation followed the Renaissance, and it was the impact of the humanist movement carried out within Renaissance that the Protestant movement also became very successful, and the Protestant Reformation movement helped in alleviating the damages done to the society by the Roman Catholic Church. So let us begin with the Reformation. We are going to talk about the causes of the Protestant Reformation movement, which brought about changes or which removed the darkness that was prevalent within the church, within religion because of the activities of the Roman Catholic Church. So, Reformation can be regarded as a milestone in the history of Europe, and in fact, it was not merely an event in the history of the church, but it brought about revolutionary changes in the social and economic and political climate of 16th, 17th century Europe as well. Let us begin with the causes of Reformation. The occurrence of the Reformation was made possible by certain circumstances. The Protestant Reformation sprang from a multiplicity of causes, most of them closely related to the political and economic conditions of the age. The first cause of Renaissance was the corrupt life of the church and the Pope. The church was full of abuses, and it had developed a corrupt life. The Pope was also corrupt, which created problems for the Roman Catholic Church when the Reformation movement began. So, the most significant aspect of the church in Western Europe was the degeneration of clerical behavior and morals. And the church at this period of time, as I already said, was corrupt, and especially at the top level. Many of the Roman clergy were incredibly ignorant, some even unable to understand Latin. Also, a large number of the clergy led scandalous lives. The papacy suffered from ecclesiastical corruption and nepotism. There were numerous evils also in connection with the sale of religious offices and dispensations, the sale of indulgences about which we have talked when we were doing Renaissance. Papal corruption encouraged the proliferation of abuses among the lower clergy as well, and the church as a whole underwent a general decline which affected the whole of Western Europe during this period. Secondly, there was widespread discontentment with the contemporary religion, and this dissatisfaction with the existing state of affairs in the church was on two counts. Firstly, there was discontent with the church as an institution, and secondly, there was a desire to return to a more satisfying personal religion based more closely on the gospel of religion than of the contemporary church. So, the religious life of this period was marked by general deterioration. Superstition increased, religion became mechanistic and materialistic than it had once been. The sale of indulgences, as I already said, aroused the most ardent pressure for reform, and there was also resentment against papal taxation. So, Reformation was a protest against the autocratic views of the religious authorities, wastage of money by the Pope, and their immoral acts. Thirdly, there was the rise of strong national monarchies, which made it certain that the state would do what it could to lessen papal interference in its internal affairs. And with the growth of a national consciousness in northern Europe, the people resented any outside interference and considered the Pope as a foreigner who had no right to meddle with affairs in England, France, and Germany. Renaissance was a major reason for Reformation because the humanist movement, which was carried out within Renaissance, greatly inspired the leaders of the Protestant Reformation movement as well. And the Renaissance resulted in a critical approach to the authority. Also, with the invention of the of printing, the teachings of the reformers could be disseminated all over Europe. The Renaissance scholarship was Christian and critical. The works of Erasmus and Sebastian Brandt were read widely. And the humanist movement, humanism, also greatly helped the Protestant Reformation movement, which was a consequence of the rise of humanism. Through the Renaissance, intellectual activity increased and articulate criticism became more widespread, and therefore the ideals of Renaissance accelerated the Reformation. The contemporary situation, social situation, the Reformation was also rooted into that. The dissolution of feudalism led to the emancipation of the peasantry and a consequent rise in their status and prosperity. And they resented the demands of the church, they resented the demands of their ecclesiastical overlord, and the privileged position of the church was being attacked in towns as well. Printing press. The invention of the printing press by Johannes Gutenberg. It was one of the very essential features of Renaissance, and it was also a key factor in the spread of Renaissance, without which the ideas of Martin Luther could not be disseminated at such speed. And it also made the Bible available to the laity, and the result was a massive missionary drive and an attack on paganism and ignorance. When we look into the Marxist interpretation of the Reformation, it talks about the rise of the bourgeoisie. Now, they have Marx and Engels have described the period of Reformation as having witnessed a social transformation, that is the rise of the bourgeoisie, and the Reformation is seen as a manifestation in religion and church government of the economic interests of a new class with new attitudes. But this view of Marx is not widely accepted, especially when Elton says that the rise of the bourgeois should mean the growth and rise of towns, when actually during the Reformation the towns were on the decline, and it is also said that the whole bourgeoisie was not Protestant. Then there is a sociological explanation of Reformation. It reflected the rise of an educated elite of laymen who were against the superfluous clergy, and this sense of superiority of the laity over the clergy was also strengthened by the work of the humanists. Then there were political developments of the Middle Ages, which led to a decrease in the institutional power of the church and to the weakening of its pretensions. And the reduction in the power of the Holy Roman Emperor also weakened the papal state. The absolutist monarchies of France, England, and Spain won greater power over the church and its appointments to the exclusion of papal influence. And the increasing role of laymen in local administration led to the secularization of administration, and an increasing number of laymen were employed in government and diplomacy. So these were the major reasons of the Reformation, and as a result of the Protestant Reformation movement, it tried to eradicate the abuses of the Roman Catholic Church, and it was much successful. It was successful to a great extent. Now, in my next video, I'm going to talk about Martin Luther, who was the main Protestant leader during this period and who led the Protestant Reformation movement. Um, Please comment in the comment box about how you like this video and what changes could be made in this video. Please write your comments. Thank you very much.